Welcome to What Do You Know podcasts. This podcast was created to inspire, to open up those sparks and invite us to what do we each know. Now, my guests come from all around the globe, have experienced, have created, and brought different things into this beautiful world. But what if their journey is just there to be an inspiration for what it is that each of us actually knows? Some of our topics will be about the planet, businesses, money, creation of wealth, relationships, and so much more. And we invite you to listen to this episode of What Do You Know? Hello, everyone, and welcome to What Do You Know podcast. My name is Laleh Hancock, and today I'm super excited. I really wanted to have this conversation with you guys about leadership. You know, I was looking through LinkedIn and through different social media, and the first thing I see is everyone's opinion. A leader is this, a leader is not this. There's charts, there's graphs, there's this, there's that. But everything is about an answer. And me too. I was like that too. And every day it is something that I actually have to keep reminding myself that when we take anything, whether it's leadership or even our businesses, and we say our business is this, and we make it from a very place of solidness and definition, and this is how it is and nothing else, we really have to limit the possibilities, limit what other ideas, just creativeness that can actually show up. And with leadership, it's the same thing. You know, I can tell you as a consultant, they would hire me to come in as that expert who was bringing resources, information, and definition from everybody else to figure out what it would be for them. And I realized a very, very long time ago, that is boring. That is boring consulting for me. And those were the projects I would not take on. But if we are looking at a particular business, what's working? What's not working? What are their targets? Where are they trying to go? And then apply tools, bring questions. Yes, we can talk about how someone else did something. That's a case study, a moment. But it's not about taking that, copying it, and applying it to a business because each business is different. Each business has its own consciousness, has its own energy. Each business is actually creating its own future. Now, we could have companies that sell similar products, similar services, but still everything is going to be very unique to that particular company. That's why a lot of times many strategies do not work because it's a copy paste strategy instead of what's actually required at this moment. And it does start with where are we going? What is it we desire to create? And the same thing with leadership. You know, I'll tell you, one of the first things that get me to just turn off social media, move away from whatever it is just that I'm reading over and over someone's perspective that has no space, has no possibility. It's only fact. Well, guess what? Those are the facts that end up helping that company go under, lose great talent because they're not really leaving room for creativity. They're putting something in a box. And you have plenty of people in the world who love boxes. They love to stay in a box, and that works for you. Amazing. But what about the rest of us? And leadership is that thing that actually is so unique to each of us. Leadership is something that I love, has been part of my blood since I was a little girl, and also something that I've utilized in a lot of trainings, workshops, you know, different events around the world to talk about the topic of leadership. But again, my perspective is actually not that there is one answer, but that it is about you, each of us, desiring what is it we would like to create and what is that leadership for us. I have a program called Leaders of Tomorrow, and a lot of people look at it as, oh, that means it's just the youth. Yes, it includes the youth. It actually a program that starts from the age of 8 and goes to over 100. And we have different ones we've specialized around education at a school for kids. We also have it that it could be specific to businesses and what they're desiring to create. But we also have one that mixes kids 8 and over, brings people from all walks of life and all different roles and titles and organizations. And that class I always love because guess who's taking the most notes? It's not the kids, it's the adults, it's the CEOs, it's the leaders who are in a creative environment and really willing to be out of the box. So I invite each of us with whatever's going on in our business, whatever we're looking to add to our lives, to the business itself. What if the first question is, what is actually required here? And if I was truly being the leader, what would I choose? And I'd love to bring conversations about leadership also with benevolent capitalism. Yep, you heard it correctly. I put the word benevolent and capitalism together. We actually started this conversation many years ago. Our first event was in Melbourne, Australia, and we're having a conversation right now from Costa Rica with people all around the world. And it's bringing us to recognize benevolent was never meant to be charity. Benevolent means that we are willing to have wellness, well for all. You know, it's like you're willing to actually create something that benefits everyone. It's something that you are willing to choose, knowing it's not just about one person benefiting, but for everyone to benefit. And capitalism was never meant to be how we've corrupted it to be, but it really was an exchange of goods. It's how we were going to increase the number of cows that we had if we had a farm. You know, it really was how do we contribute to each other and allowing ourselves to have an exchange system. And when you look at leadership and what you're desiring to create, what can you create that actually does benefit all? And when I say all, it's not just the people, it is also the inclusion of our beautiful planet. Because so often, most of us look at, okay, if I'm going to be successful in business, if I'm actually going to be able to make money, then I have to do it this way. Well, guess what? You just became the non-question person, and all of that conclusion can only take you down one path. But if you were asking, if I was being the benevolent leader at this moment, what would I choose to create? And what steps would I start to take? Because as a benevolent leader, it's not an answer in your head, but the moment you ask that question, you actually give yourself permission to start to receive. The universe, our planet, people, you allow the awareness and the information to start to actually come to you. But when we have an agenda, a particular result already defined, we can only go down one or two paths. But the minute you go away from the result and you're actually asking a real question, then you're allowing yourself to have a spherical awareness. And you know, those moments when you're in the shower, you get all these great ideas, it's because you did. You asked a question And one of those moments with the water is how you're receiving it. Now, you could be watching TV and there's something they say on the TV, and that's the idea that pops in that moment. It comes in all sorts of ways and all sorts of moments. But again, it cannot come while we are focusing on one result. It's like, what else is possible here I haven't considered yet? Like even as a product, if you're looking at services, you're looking to expand your particular business line. Well, what if it's not about something's not working, but what are other possibilities with that product, with that service you haven't even considered yet? What else could you add to the business? That really is that moment we're igniting the curiosity. So, if you were truly being a leader, what would you choose in this moment, this situation? Might be you're talking to your kids, it might be you're talking to a staff member, it might be that you're sitting there wondering, why is it no one's buying this particular product? Instead of going into it from that angle, if you just said, hey, what else is possible we haven't even considered yet? And see what ideas end up popping. And what if it's going to look totally different than anything you ever imagined? Some of the products we've created were not things that we got started with the business. They were things that came along years later, and they came maybe because we went to a particular country and it was something that opened up in that country. But by us creating it, it ended up expanding globally. So, again, if we're truly being benevolent leaders, what would we choose to create today? And then what actions do we have to take to allow it to come to fruition? Because it's great if it's an idea, but what are you going to do to move that creativity into physical showing up somewhere? So, what are those actions? And actions are not always doing. Action can even be just, hey, I'm relaxing at the moment. Oh, I'm asking another question. Who do I need to add that will contribute to bringing this product, this service, this idea to fruition greater than we can ever imagine? Hmm, who do I need to call? Who knows more information about this? Where can I go? Can you start to search on the web for more information? It may even be the exploration of traveling for fun. Because what if being the leader doesn't have to have a title, doesn't have to be only work related, but your willingness to actually be that leader in your life? What would you choose if you were being the benevolent leader? Mhm. And that curiosity is really the greatest secret sauce to everything for us in our businesses. That moment that we define, we limit to one answer, one solution, is when we actually take away the creativity. We take away the awareness. And then we wonder why it goes sour, why it goes down the hill. It's because we really didn't give it enough of possibilities. We just went down one road. And guess what? One road may work for you as a starting point, but then what? How does it get even better than this? Whether it's something that's going really well or not, how does it get even better than this? Again, what you're doing is you're opening the door to give yourself permission for more awareness, more information. So, I wonder what ideas you've already come up with. And what do you know about leadership that you haven't acknowledged yet? Because each of us, if you look, it's not just this moment. And it's not just from when you were a little kid. We have so much awareness and information of different things, being leaders. For example, when I was 7, I was telling my father how to run his business, and it doesn't make sense. Why would a 7-year-old know any information to be able to share with their father? Because we have awareness in our consciousness, and we know so much more than just the education we've received. I really invite you guys, each of you, to start to explore, what do you know about leadership? And know that your style of leadership may look so different than anyone else's. And yes, you can gather information that's there from whatever social media, on the website, or different things. It's not about exclusion of any of that. But it's your willingness not to make all of that be the answer, but they are information, awareness, they're the igniting of your own creativity, but being able to make it yours. Because there's only one of you in the world, and it's not here about duplicating and being anybody else. Everyone else is taken. Now, what would you like to add to your life today? What new abilities would you like to add? And if we're truly willing, each of us, to be the leaders of our own lives, what else could that create with the planet? Love to hear from you guys. Let us know how it's working. And you can always go to belapemo.com and send us some comments. You can comment below. I just want to know, what do you know that you haven't yet considered? And how can you apply what you know to create a greater world? Alrighty, look forward to seeing you guys next week. I have a special guest. Cannot wait till you guys get to hear that conversation too. And we'll see you soon. Bye, everyone. Thank you for being here for this episode of What Do You Know podcast. We're so grateful you're here. If you have not yet subscribed, you can subscribe below. And will you contribute to assisting us in spreading this out to all others who may be looking for it? And comments below. Let us know. What did you think of this episode? What contribution has it been for you? And also, what topics would you like to hear about? We look forward to hearing from you today and in the future.